Since the creation of video games, there has always been a desire to integrate physical toys into games. Rob the Robot was the first example of this, created for the Nintendo Entertainment System. Rob would help you play video games, in the same way that your 200-year-old geriatric grandfather might help. But with the popularization of NFC chips or near-field communication devices, being able to wirelessly transfer information became incredibly easy. And in 2007, the first official Toy to Life was born.
Will you be funky?
Unlock a whole new world of games and adventures with You Be Funkies!
We're back! And in this multi-part series, I want to discuss the rise, the fall, and maybe eventual rise again of the Toy to Life genre, starting with You Be Funkies. Created by Mattel, You Be Funkies utilized NFC technology to revolutionize the Webkinz craze. And it was really cool. No more clunky secret code tied to a single account. You just grab your Funky, you put it on the hub, and you're in the game. Trying to capture the growing popularization of vinyl collectibles, You Be Funkies were clearly a product of their time, where everything had to be like dark and gritty, because kids these days don't want just Sonic, they want Sonic with a gun! And you know what, I'll give them this. While I wouldn't collect the characters nowadays because they are kinda ugly, I did really want them as a kid. Designed by Radica, You Be Funkies came with an NFC chip on the bottom that would allow them to be transported into their own video game. The video game itself was developed by Arcadium and was an online social simulator in the style like Webkinz and Neopets. If it's a social simulator, then how come I have no friends? All around me are familiar faces. Each Funky was part of a specific tribe, and due to the main antagonist's master locks locking all the portals away, only a Funky of the specific tribe can enter a certain portal, which is very convenient when you're trying to push product. The base set came with 2 Funkies and the hub, and all things considered, Funkies are pretty cheap. The base set cost around $20, and each Funky after costs $5, which compared to the $100 base sets of Skyladders, and this one being $15 at retail, it's considerably cheaper. Each Funky came with their own minigame and a shop, where you can play the game, earn coins, and use the coins to buy furniture to decorate your pad. And when I dove into CPAL's world, my biggest complaint was the fact that they didn't have a lot of minigames to sink your time into. And Funkies is the same way. You start out with 2 minigames, if you don't like either of them, you're out of luck, you have to buy a new Funky. And a lot of the games are just flash game clones. Some of them are good, like this Rock'em Sock'em Robot game. That one's fun, but some of them are downright unplayable, like this racing game. The controls are impossible. It's so slippery. This is my Dark Souls. Now I'll admit, I was a Webkinz kid. I had misdiagnosed ADHD. I view not being able to do something new every 5 seconds as a bad thing. But that's not what You Be Funkies was going for. You Be Funkies was primarily an exploration game where you would complete fetch quests. And I gotta admit, the exploration in this game is really good. All of the towns are really cool. You got Funky's Town, which is the solar punk-esque city. You got Laputa Station, which is a really cool little alien planet with military bunkers. The Nightmare Rift, which was a later release, allowing for a larger map with 4 very distinct locations. The Warscape, which had this really cool little destroyed Funky. The Heap, which was the home of all the broken dreams of Funkies. The Egyptian area, home of the Tep. And the Flesh Pit. Nobody likes the Flesh Pit. This gross little tapeworm thing threw up on me, and I think my game's broken because, well, I don't look dirty. I'm walking around with little floppy footprints. You can also buy Pink Eye, which is way more convenient than how I've been getting it. The Daydream Oasis is the opposite of the Nightmare Rift, and I really like this world. It has a cool little trippy psychedelic aesthetic, and you walk through optical illusions. Finally, there's Kelpie Basin, which I also love because it's an underwater level, and underwater levels are always vibes. But also, there's Gay Twinks. They're literally called Twinks. They knew what they were doing. Happy Pride. I was gonna like put on a pride hat or something. I don't have any pride merch. That's homophobic. When exploring, you'd eventually get dirty and you'd no longer be allowed to enter buildings. You'd then have to go to like a specialized cleaning station in each world in order to clean yourself off. You could only use that specific cleaning station once per day as a way to prevent kids from playing too long. But if you had an extra Funkey, you can travel to a different world and use that cleaning station. Originally, the developers didn't want to have any combat in the game as to not promote violence, so instead they opted to have little creatures that would mug you if you're standing around too long. Each world had a different mugging creature, and oftentimes they were henchmen of the antagonist, Master Locks, except for Royalton Raceway, where you just get hit by a car. And like, I get it, you don't want to promote violence, but these aren't good life lessons either. Boys, stop fighting. I'm making dinner. Go outside and play in traffic and don't come back until you steal the purse off of that loiterer. Royalton Raceway is actually unique as being the only official brand tie-in partnering with the Speed Racer series. There was a Wendy's Funkey, but it didn't include an NFC chip and there was no Wendy's world in and of itself. However, there was going to be a DC Heroes world, and they already had all of the Funkeys created, and it was in the trailer, and it was about to be released until UB Funkeys was discontinued a few weeks before. Despite a very loyal fan base, in 2010, UB Funkeys were officially discontinued. That being said, the loyal fan base is still there. There is a huge collector's community for UB Funkeys, and people have actually taken the ROM and ported it online, so you can play UB Funkeys right now. Without a hub, you can just pick a character. It's really cool. It's probably the best way to play UB Funkeys. So if there was a loyal fan base, why did it shut down? Well, I think it's the issue with all Toys to Life games. Content creep and paywalling, eventually alienating new players. And this game paywalled hard. It was an MMO with the MM locked behind a paywall. Hey, wanna buy a couple extra letters? We got a 2-for-1 deal going on. It's the same letter. Cut them both in half and you got 4. You had to buy a specific chat Funkey, symbolized by their giant ears, to get access to the chat rooms, which are like game rooms, but without the fun and with people. I hate these. Why do you have to buy it? It's an online social simulator. And this is the thing I will come back to over the course of the NFC series. The games that succeed are the ones where it doesn't feel like you're being locked out of something, because it's not fun to feel like you're not getting access to the game that you purchased. For example, in Series 5, UB Funkeys released the Hidden Realms update, where to access it you had to open gates by placing a specific number of Funkeys in front of them. First you started with 3 Funkeys, then 5 Funkeys, all the way up to 10 Funkeys. And that's very easy for older players who've been collecting them throughout the years, but little Timmy, who just got one for Christmas, isn't going to be able to get access to the new update. He's going to start finding more places that he can't go than he can, and that's not very fun. Finally, I should mention that Mattel released a girl version of UB Funkeys called Famps. From the marketing, it looks like it's a desktop helper with some mini games, sort of like if Clippy trans their gender. And it's lost media at this point, but yeah, I did find the commercial, and I did find Dylan's Famps, an 8-part series. Thanks Dylan for preserving lost media. Congratulations for making it to the end of this video. I'm sorry this one took so long, life got in the way. I was also planning on making this like a 50-minute video, covering the entire history of Toy to Life games, but then I decided that I should just like cut it down, throw it into a multi-part thing so I actually get the video out instead of giving up. Anyway, you should like, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned for the next one. We're gonna be covering the most famous of the Toy to Life games, Skylanders. Oh, actually, it's a quick preview. I got some new ones. I got the Darklight Crypt expansion. And like, I got Spyro! I haven't had Spyro because I started playing during Giants. Bye!